Let's look at injuries across the NBA. All 30 teams. We'll give updates on them. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy Basketball, your daily fantasy basketball podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd and I'm going to be taking a couple of days off. I've got a show to put on at Paris Fashion Week. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com. And you can find me on Twitter, as always, at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That is $150 if your bet wins. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get started. Thank you also for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free. We are available on all platforms. The opportunity to double bang is back. The audio stuff is all ready to go, I've been reliably told. So hopefully you're seeing this. And what I do realize is that I had multiple, hey, where are your episodes? Why is nothing being uploaded? Because people mustn't have listened to the announcements that I made last week, which is cool. You can't listen to everything, I get that. But hopefully everything is there and repopulated. There might be some issues and all those tech blokes at the back end trying to sort that out. But hopefully we're back on audio. We're still on video here, obviously. So hit the thumbs up, hit the bell, subscribe, and you do have the chance now to go double bang. And you can actually go do a post double bang as well. You can go post double bang all those ones that you missed over the weekend. Just let them run out. We're done. All right. What are we talking? Injuries. 30 teams with bad and nebulous injury reporting. So we try to make the best of that we can. Try to get some information out of it. Let's talk about the Washington Wizards first. Denny Avdia's missed the last couple with a heel issue. Most of the times when I'm listening to someone with a Q with a questionable tag, if the team hasn't updated, it's just because they missed the last game. There's been no discussion of whether this is a long-term thing. So that's where we're at with Avdia. Corey Kispert, of course, was ruled out late for their last game with an illness. Every time I talk about this, right, I'll complain about teams' injury reporting. There's always one person that follows me for whatever reason. It's like, why are you complaining about it? Oh, that's such a ridiculous thing to complain about. It's not. Like, why shouldn't we just have teams doing the right thing or have a transparent injury reporting system? Especially if you want to, if you're taking money from gambling sites, you might want to have an actual robust rule in terms of how you report this stuff. And again, I've always find it, why would someone call me out for trying to make someone do something better or more correct? I don't know. Anyway, I'm not going to stop calling teams and NBA out because it's ridiculous that they do this. Not only for us, no one cares unless you play fantasy, but that's also still it frustrates me because there's no negative to actually having correct injury reporting. There's no negative to it from any fan perspective. There's no fan that goes, well, my viewing experience is so much worse because they were accurate with their reporting. That never makes it worse. It just makes it better for everybody. So, teams, fingers out of asses, do it better. Anyway, Corey Kispert's sick, apparently. Cool. Bilal Coulibaly is out for their next game. Val hurt his pelvis. I don't think that Bilal is a guy that's worth stashing. Of course, if you have the open slots and you've got him, you put him there. He's going to be a very fringy guy that'll have some good moments and some bad moments. Isaiah Livers still hasn't played a game in Washington. I don't know whether he will or not. He's still out with a hip issue. And then Landry Shamet, who played 37 minutes last game, is questionable with a neck strain. I don't really have any interest in Landry in any 12-team format or anything like that. But if he's out and Kispert and Avdia are out, it's going to be John Davis time, maybe? Does Poole go back to starting? I don't know. They are all of a sudden banged up. The Jazz. Cool. Nobody's on the injury report. That is good news for them. The Toronto Raptors, there's only one person on the injury report. That is 5'4" legend, two-way guard Marquise Noel with a hamstring injury. He might be back. I don't think it's going to matter. The San Antonio Spurs also have nobody on the injury report. That is a really good start to the injury show. The Sacramento Kings, Not much going on there. Sasha Vezenkov with an ankle problem. We've got him out until the middle of March or the 21st of March. His spot in the rotation has been taken by Chris Duarte, and for fantasy purposes, this only matters for very deep leagues. Last game, Alex Len was questionable with an illness, or he was out with an illness, so we're going to label him questionable for their next game. They didn't even go to JaVale McGee, though. They just went with a bit of Trey Lyles and then with more minutes to Duarte. They went a little bit smaller. Obviously, tons of minutes for Domantas Sabonis as well. So obviously, pretty interesting stuff. Well, actually, not interesting stuff, which is good from a fantasy perspective. The next one, we do get a little bit more annoying, and that is Portland with Sterling Henderson dealing with that groin issue. Scoots missed the games after the All-Star break, which is really frustrating. They said yesterday that he's not doing any on-court work at the moment. So I'm, at the moment, going to rule him out until the 2nd of March because they've got a Friday, Saturday back-to-back. So I don't think he plays Tuesday, and I would think that if he's not doing any on-court work, he won't play Tuesday. There's a chance he comes back for the back-to-back, so I would think that he probably plays one of those, which is the Saturday game. Malcolm Brogdon had a PRP injection in his elbow. They refused to give a timeline update on that, so I reckon that 3 weeks is not going to happen. I've got him listed there as the 9th of March. I will not be shocked if he does not play. I still think he will, but I don't think he's going to be worth holding on to. Like, I'm very confident that Scoot is going to return before Brogdon, and Scoot is going to start, and Brogdon plays 24 minutes, and then we'll be out again. Moses Brown has a wrist problem. He's been out for ages. I'm not sure that he comes back. He's not good enough to come back, and I don't think that we need to worry too much about that. The Phoenix Suns, they don't play until Thursday now, 3 days off. Bradley Beal's missed the last few. We missed the game before the All-Star break, hasn't played since with a hamstring. Good chance he's back for Thursday. Eric Gordon sat the last game with the groin soreness. I expect that he's back on Thursday. And Damian Lee with the knee, we're looking at maybe April. He hasn't played all season. Of course, Beal and Gordon and the 3-day break means the value of adding an O'Neal or a Bol is very limited. Because when these two guys return, there's just probably not going to be enough for those guys to do enough to necessitate holding through 3-0s in a row, only to have both of these guys likely back in their next game on Thursday. For the Philadelphia 76ers, no real update on Joel Embiid's return. We've got him at around the end of March coming back. I do think they'll try to sneak 4, 5, 6 games of regular season action in for Embiid in low minutes. Now, if Embiid plays 20 minutes, he's obviously a fantasy rosterable guy. I only see the necessity in having him on your roster if your league goes until the final day or in a roto format. Maybe if your league goes to April 7th, you could hold him through there, but it's all about individual circumstances. Are your ILs full? Are you struggling to get into the playoffs as it is? Well, that makes it almost impossible to hold him. Bob Covington's knee appears cooked, and I'm not sure when he's back. We've got him down as the 16th of March. Again, total guess number because they've told us nothing. I don't think he's going to factor into anything. And then KJ Martin missed the last game. He was probable, and then he missed the last game with an ankle problem. He's been getting some minutes. Not sure that he's always going to get minutes, but at the moment he's got a role, but that only really matters for the deeper formats. Last game, Paulo Banchero missed due to an illness. He was sick in the game where he hit the game winner against the Pistons. He is questionable for this one. Unbelievably, they're listing Jonathan Isaac as questionable with a knee strain again. Oh, now they're calling it a sprain. So they have corrected it, apparently. So there you go. The MRI says no significant injuries. And hang on, I've got one reporter here saying strain, one saying sprain. Stop saying strain for knee injuries. Unless it's a very weird situation where he pulled a muscle attached to the side of his knee. It's a sprain. I don't get it. So anyway, that happened. But Isaac is officially questionable. I'm stunned that he just left the game straight away. Didn't even shoot free throws, but he's okay to go. Okay. Gary Harris missed the last game with an illness as well. I expect both Paolo and Gaz to play. In fact, Gaz has just right now, they've dropped the injury report. Gary is off the injury report, so he will be available for their next game. And Paolo is officially questionable. So, yeah, some interesting stuff. The Isaac one is shocking to me, honestly. The Oklahoma City Thunder, just another team just comfortably sitting out here saying we've got no injuries. We saw the Kings rocket up to the third in the Western Conference last season with no injuries. Not saying the Thunder have jumped to their position in the standings because of no injuries, but they've had no injuries. Like, no one's been hurt all season. They have been probably, I'd say before the Knicks copped this massive hit. The Knicks were unbelievably healthy early on as well. They just had no one out. The Thunder is one of the more healthy teams that I've seen. Basically, I'd love to get the numbers, but I'd like to see it on par with the Kings from last season because they just don't get hurt. Like, there's no one injured for this team at all, which is great for them, but you worry that maybe something happens. Hopefully not. Knock on wood, knock on wood. Today's episode is brought to you by Nissan. Are you the kind of driver who likes to push things a little bit further? Ever wonder what adventure could be around the next corner? Well, our friends at Nissan have a lineup of SUVs with the capabilities to take your adventure to the next level. The 2024 Nissan Rogue is here, and it is perfect for city drives and for great escapes. Class-exclusive Google built-in is your always updating assistant to call on for almost anything. You don't have to worry about connecting your phone anymore. Google Assistant, Google Maps, and Google Play Store are built right into the 12.3-inch HD touchscreen infotainment system. The 2024 Rogue is the perfect mid-size crossover for your next adventure. Plus, their lineup also includes the incredible 2024 Nissan Armada. It will change what you expect from a full-size SUV. Picture a rugged 4x4 that can seat up to 8 in first-class luxury and style. Tow bigger and explore further in the 2024 Armada. Take the Nissan Rogue, Nissan Pathfinder, or Nissan Armada and go and find your next big adventure. Shop nissanusa.com. Back in with the teams, and it's time to talk about the aforementioned New York Knickerbockers because we've still got the three main injuries there. At the moment, Julius Randle in his shoulder injury and OG Anunoby in his elbow injury. We've got a tentative return date of the 3rd of March, but there've been no real updates. There's some footage of Randle doing some workouts. There's some discussion of he'd still have to consider surgery if it doesn't go well, but that has always been the plan. If he didn't rehab in those 3 to 4 weeks, he would have to have surgery on his shoulder, but we don't know if that's any closer or not. OG, we haven't had an update, so we're talking about at least another week here, I would guess, and then that's going to cause big issues. I think Bojan is a drop. I think Josh Hart will be a drop. I think Achua will clearly be a drop, and DiVincenzo moves into more a fringy scenario. And then we've got later on Mitchell Robinson maybe coming back middle of March, late March. I wouldn't consider Hartenstein a drop yet. In fact, I think Hartenstein will continue to start for the bulk of the regular season, even when Robinson returns. But that will impact Hartenstein's overall upside when that does occur. But we're still probably a few weeks away from Mitchie Rob returning. He might not even return in the regular season. We don't know yet. The Knicks, underrated in terms of being a team that's bad at reporting injuries. The New Orleans Pelicans, CJ McCollum, missed the last game with an ankle problem. He is officially questionable for their next game, so it doesn't appear to be too serious there. And we saw in that last game that meant that we got a lot more. Trey Murphy, who started in that game, he would likely move to the bench with CJ playing. I don't see who else had moved to the bench. That's that. We've got Jose Alvarado still suspended for 2 more games. He is eligible to return on Friday, the 3rd of March, and then Dyson Daniels with his meniscus surgery out until about the beginning of April. Alvarado's value is up with Daniels out, so is Herb Jones. So both, obviously Jones is going through an immense hot streak at the moment, and Alvarado's at least turns into a 14-team, maybe 12-team stream guy when he does return from that suspension. The Minnesota Timberwolves, last game we had no Rudy Gobert. It was a back-to-back for them. He is officially questionable for Tuesday, but they've done this consistently, is that when it's even a 1-game absence, they list the guy questionable for the next game. They leave it right up until close to game time, even though it's very clear the guy is going to play, and I feel like that's what it is for Gobert. Now, maybe it's not. He's listed with an ankle sprain, but I feel pretty confident that Gobert is going to play. They've also got Jalen Clark returning from an Achilles injury. Maybe he's back the start of March. They might not rush him, and honestly, even if he is healthy, he's not going to play in their rotation anyway, so it doesn't really matter. For the Bucks, James Christian Middleton with an ankle sprain. This guy just has so many problems going on all the time. We've got Middleton out. I'm expecting him to be out until at least Friday. They ruled him out for Tuesday's game, and then they've got a Thursday, Friday back-to-back. So given that he sits back-to-backs anyway, given that he's coming off an ankle problem, I find it implausible that he would play on Thursday, meaning to me the earliest he returns is Friday. They're starting Jay Crowder in his spot, but you don't care for fantasy. What it does help is Leaky Beasley in his usage and getting a couple of extra minutes there. But it is getting tough to deal with Middleton. If you're in a spot where you need to drop, I do get it. Now, he was putting up like top 60 numbers before this ankle problem, so it's not an automatic drop situation, but just the uncertainty around it does make it difficult. Now we get to a team with 1 million guys on the injury report. Now, a lot of this is suspension. Jim Butler is suspended today. He'll be back for Tuesday's game. Tyler Hero is out today with a hyperextended knee. They said that it's like no structural damage or anything, so there's a chance he plays Tuesday. They made a big song and dance of Terry Rozier maybe being available for Monday. He's not, so he's out as well on Monday. It seemed ridiculous that Rozier would be back that quickly. He hurt his knee on the 11th of February, and we are 2 weeks away. That looked like a serious knee injury. They still haven't really given us any information about what the injury was, making it impossible for us to actually tell when he's coming back. Was this a ploy to list him as questionable when yet he's going to be out for another 2 weeks? I don't know. I have no idea. But Rozier is out on Monday, and maybe he's back on Tuesday. Josh Richardson's shoulder issue, we've got him out until about the 10th of March. There, Tom Bryant suspended until the 2nd of March, and Jovic is suspended today as well, so he'll be back on the 27th. Obviously, the returns of Butler, Hero, Rozier, and Jovic, all for the next game, means that anything that happens in Monday's game for the Heat doesn't really translate across to Tuesday at all. So you might get a big Duncan Robinson game, you might get a big Jaquez game, a big Martin game, you might get Alondes Williams or Jamal Cain playing minutes, and it matters nothing for Tuesday. There's value for streaming those guys on Monday, but there's no guarantee of any of that stuff carrying over whatsoever. And now we get to the team where I just don't know what to tell you. It is the Memphis question marks. I've got Desmond Bane and Marcus Smart. We got that update on them, which you might think was encouraging. I think it just told me they're not coming back. I'm listing them as back 27th of March, both Bane and Smart. I don't think they're playing. The expected to play Desmond Bane in 3 to 5 weeks means that it's a very clear opening for setback, soreness. He'll sit the final 10 days. Marcus Smart's reevaluation in 3 weeks, again, sets the stage for hasn't quite healed, experiencing pain, still wearing a brace, another 3 weeks. I don't think these guys are returning. I don't think they are. But they won't rule him out, so I can't rule him out officially. John Concha, dealing with a thumb issue. He has been ruled out for the game on Monday. Scottie Pippen's back issue, we've got him out until about the 20th of March. And then Brandon Clark, we haven't had any news whatsoever. Remember, there was some talk of, maybe he's back around the All-Star. Well, we've passed the All-Star. We're getting into 2 weeks after the All-Star break. I've got Brandon Clark as 13th of March. He doesn't need to come back. They're not doing anything. But I reckon we might see him at some point late March in a very limited role. Not enough to matter for most of us in fantasy. But not, I don't think they'll just list him out the entirety of the season, Brandon Clark. So I've got him back around the middle of March here, but who knows? We haven't had any update on that at any point soon. And of course, we've got guys like Trey Jemison, and we've got Jordan Goodwin on 2-ways, but they're prorated 2-ways, so they can't play every game. So they're going to be in and out of lineups every second game, basically. I think they can only play about 60% of the remaining games. So they're going to be in and out, making it impossible to try and judge how to do that. Derrick Rose is going to sit every second game. Then you're going to have issues with Jaren. You're going to have issues with Kennard. You're going to have Concha. It's all over the shop, and it remains all over the shop, and we will get no clarity on this at any point this season, is my guess. The Lakers. Jared Vanderbilt, and Christian Wood. We've got both of those guys looking at maybe the 8th of March. I think that Wood is more likely to be back then. Vanderbilt and his foot issue looked pretty significant, and we thought it might be out for the season. They've said he probably can be back, but I'm still not fully trusting that. Gabe Vincent and his knee, well, he's played like 4 games or 5 games this season. Maybe we're talking about next week. But with Spencer Dinwiddie, with Spencer Dinwiddie there, not sure Vincent plays, but with Spencer Dinwiddie there, they need someone to play instead of Spencer Dinwiddie. So if Vincent can get healthy, maybe Dinwiddie's the guy that get DNP'd. Spencer Dinwiddie carrying on the illustrious tradition of buyout guys being trash and not being able to do anything good. There are obviously a couple of exceptions, but as a general rule, buyout guys are bad. As much as I hate the buyout process. Although this one's not, you know what? This one, scrap that. This wasn't a buyout. The Raptors just said, you're getting cut. We're not even negotiating with you this contract. We're not even asking you to give money back. Just see you later. That's just you're bad, so see you later. We don't want to pay you the extra bonus. Get out of here. Cam Reddish, questionable. Will Reddish be in the rotation? I guess. Pockets loves him, so I guess he plays over Max Christie, but not enough to matter for most people. And then the big fella, Colin Castleton, has a wrist issue. We got him back coming back some point in April. He's got an interesting fantasy profile, Castleton, but obviously the opportunities aren't there for him on this team this season. This next segment is brought to us by our sponsor, BetterHelp. Sometimes we all get we all need that opportunity to get something off our chest. Big, small. Nothing is too big. Nothing is too small. Sometimes you just need to let it out. And sometimes it's important to do that with someone in your life who is unbiased. So if you've got something that's bothering you, it might be big, it might be small, but it's something your kids, your parents, your partner, your work colleague, your sports team that's really getting to you and actually causing some level of dysfunction in your life. You need to get it out and talk through it. And that is one of the ways that therapy can be helpful. Therapy is different for everybody, and we use it in different ways, but all of us have some sort of problems. Most of us have bigger problems than our favorite sports team putting out bogus injury reports. But whatever it is, being able to talk through it, can help you develop skills to cope with other things that happen in your life as well. So if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, it's designed to be flexible and suited to your schedule. And of course, if you are in a situation where you don't find you click with your therapist, well, you've got the ability to change to a new therapist free of charge completely, which is awesome. Visit betterhelp.com/lockedonnba to get 10% off your first month. That is BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedonnba. Let's go through the remaining teams now. I hoped the NBA had uploaded a new logo sheet for the Clippers' new logo because I wanted to use it, but I see no high definition, no actual full versions of the Clippers' new logo that's dropped, so we're going to use the old one. The new logo, new uniforms come in next season. I think reaction to it has been overall positive. I think it's overall positive. I'm not like... The colors are a bit meh to me. I would have loved a little bit more, I guess, embracing of the old Braves colorway or the San Diego Clippers colorway, a bit more powder blue in there, but overall the colors are nice. The Rebrand is nice. The logo is definitely an upgrade on what we've got here. Still think they could have done better with it, but whatever. It's still pretty strong, but okay, still using the old logo. Anyway, that's enough logo talk. Actually, I asked this on Twitter. I'll ask it now here on the podcast, especially if you are here on YouTube. We've got the ability to comment. What team do you think needs a rebrand next? This isn't a full rebrand. They're still obviously called the Clippers. It's just a change in colors, a change in logo. To me, I think it's the Rockets. I know people will say the Jazz. I believe the Jazz are going away from that yellow pretty quickly. I think they're leaning back into purple, so just be aware of that. A lot of people say the Thunder. I have actually zero problem with the Thunder whatsoever. I actually like their branding. I know people hate it. I've got no problem with it at all. To me, the Rockets, or maybe the Mavericks. The Rockets is just boring. Like, that logo is boring. Their main global logo with the full world behind it, boring. It needs something. When they rocked out those San Diego Rockets City Editions last season, now that popped. The Rockets, boring. Anyway, Paul George is questionable for the Clippers. He missed the last game with knee soreness. Doesn't look like it's anything long-term, but he's had some groin issues, had some knee issues. They'll give him some sporadic time off, I'm guessing. For the Indiana Pacers, Aaron Nesmith is out on Monday. They've got a great schedule this week. Hopefully he's able to return for their next game on Wednesday. With him out, Mathurin and Nembhard get pretty big boosts in that spot, and then deeper leagues look at Ben Shepherd. Jalen Smith, unsurprisingly, popped up as questionable on the back-to-back with back spasms. He's had back issues all season. He played on Sunday. If he is out, then Isaiah Jackson moves into that stream zone there. For the Rockets, with that boring logo, Tari lost season with that leg issue. I've got him at the moment out until the 8th of March. Honestly, I think he's done. I don't think he's coming back. It's been persistent problems with this leg stress fracture issue all season. He tried to come back. Pain was there. He's seeking second medical opinions. I don't think he's coming back. I don't think you should have dropped him 7 weeks ago. I just don't think it's happening. But at the moment, I'm putting him at the 8th of March, and we'll see where it goes. I just don't think he's returning. The Warriors. Chris Paul is back. They said he was going to return at some point on the road trip. He's returning for the first game of the road trip on Tuesday. So we got to look to see what happens to Kuminga, what happens to Podziemski, what happens to Clay. Kuminga's minutes are already down, and he is moving quickly to becoming a drop. He's not, but he is moving there. Podziemski probably will end up a drop, and I think Clay will end up a drop, and Paul might not be a rosterable player either. In fact, all of those guys maybe move into that rotating 100 to 150 zone where one guy is up at 100 for a game and then 150 the next one, and they all sort of alternate back, which is sort of what I worry about. Guy Santos is dealing with a knee problem with Chris Paul returning. He wouldn't play anyway. We've got him out until about the 6th of March. The Detroit Pistons. Isaiah Stewart has 1 game left on his suspension. No word on whether his ankle is actually healed, so I don't know that he's available to return on the 27th. But, keep an eye because his suspension ends Monday. And then Marcus Sasser announced today with some knee soreness out for at least a week. So he's out until the following week. So that means more for Quentin Grimes and means more somehow for Malachi Flynn, who's getting some of those rotation minutes there as well. Although they could go back to Shake Milton. Not that matters for most of us, but the Stewart one is probably the more impactful one there if he's able to step up and then impact Asar or Fontecchio or anything they do with their rotations. And let's see how much they actually do still value Isaiah Stewart. Should be 0, but we'll see how much they value him. In Denver, it's just Hunter Tyson with a finger issue. He's not been part of the rotation. And I really want to just quickly mention something about the Nuggets. The Nuggets won the title last season. Did you know that? Yeah, breaking news. The Nuggets won the title, and then in the draft, they made all these moves. We're going to draft old college players, because we think they've got the ability. The idea was, well, they had success doing it with Christian Braun the year before. Christian Braun came in, he played good minutes in the finals. It was great. So we're going to take old college players because they're NBA ready. It doesn't happen. Like I say this all the time. The reason those guys stay in college is because they're not good enough to be NBA players early on. That's why if they were, they'd be moving into the NBA and getting contracts and getting drafted early. And there's this fallacy idea that an older college player is just more ready to play. Ochai Agbaji, one of them. Like Hunter Tyson, Julius Strouben, Jalen Pickett. They can't do anything. They're not a part of this rotation at all. They can't contribute because they're rookies, and they're not very good rookies because they're older college players. This is a common thing. But the idea is, while they're older, they're more mature. Now, for some of them, you'll be able to throw out an example and say, well, Andy Nembhard played 4 years in college and he came in, he was really solid. That's cool. But as a general rule, prioritizing older players through college in the draft is just not a situation where they walk in and they're ready. That isn't how it works. I don't believe. Anyway, Hunter Tyson's questionable, and we don't care. Shout out to Hunter. Apologies to him. For the Mavs, Josh Green popped up as probable with an elbow issue, and Dante Exum is actually, I'm listing him doubtful with this knee issue. It's been a bloody long time since he's been out. In fact, I think he is officially doubtful, Dante. And then we've got the standard Luka Doncic probable, Derek Lively probable, Maxi Kleber probable. All three of those guys with nose fractures. Unbelievable that all three of them are listed probable with nasal fractures. Kleber, Lively, and Doncic, they just popped up as well. Green's going to play in Exum. I'm not even sure if Dante's going to be a rotation guy when he returns. For the Cavs, Tristan Thompson is still suspended. He's out until the 16th of March. They're not even running with Damian Jones there as the backup. It's just Mobley and Allen in that spot. The Bulls, Pat Williams is out for the season with his foot injury. Torrey Craig hurt his knee. We're looking at mid-March for him. This means that I would assume his value is straight through the roof. They're not playing Julian Phillips. They went back to Dalen Terry with a bit of the Red Rooster, Terry Taylor, playing some of those backup minutes along with Javon Carter and then Andre Drummond. Not that we need to worry about rostering those guys in standard formats. For the Hornets, I don't know. LaMelo Ball, ankle. I've listed 1st of March there. It literally might be not at all. They keep saying he's practicing with the team. I couldn't tell you if he's coming back. I don't even know what the problem is. Knee, what do they call it? Ankle tendinopathy now? I don't know. No idea. Mark Williams, I've got 19th of March. Almost no chance he comes back, but I've got no idea. They won't rule him out. So I don't know what's going on with either of those guys. It is really, obviously you should have dropped Mark Williams months ago. Ball, it's really tough because they're very opaque with giving information. There's always a tease that he's coming back. I do think LaMelo will come back. When? I've got no idea. Seth Curry and Davis Bertans missed the last game, so they might be available for the next one. Bertans is playing like 6-7 minutes. Curry plays about 18 minutes or so. With Curry and Bertans out, they went a little bit to Bryce McGowan's last game, but I don't think we need to worry about that one impacting us too much. Ben Simmons apparently has a leg injury. It was originally a knee injury, now it's a leg injury, and somehow they're listing him questionable for today's game. That seems insane to me that he would leave early with a leg injury and then be back the next one, especially when it's the first of a back-to-back. I don't know. If he plays, I'm going to be very surprised, but we will find out because he's still listed questionable for Monday's action. It's really hard to suggest that Ben is a must-roster player. It's also impossible to suggest that Dennis Schroeder is a must-roster player because he's bad and he's the backup to Ben Simmons. So it's just a whole messy situation. Boston is clean. No injuries there at the moment. Of course, there are going to be rests that pop up with Kristaps' ankle and Jalen Green's back and Tatum's ankle and White's something and Holiday's elbow. These are going to happen. That's what happens when you're so far ahead of everybody in the NBA. And the last one is the Atlanta Hawks. We spoke at length about Trae Young yesterday. We've got him back the 1st of April from the finger surgery, which basically ends his regular season, meaning he's a drop in most sort of fantasy situations. Onyeka Okongwu, middle of March return. Capella looks completely done, by the way. He looks still hurt. So I suppose there is still a chance if Okongwu could come back that he could take starters minutes, but you've got to judge it. This is 2 to 3 weeks away for Okongwu for him to return. Can you hold? Is there enough injured slots on your team? If you want to drop, you can. I get that completely, especially with the injury and the Capella situation. But I do think that Okongwu has looked better than Capella. And if he returns, he might just take that spot. But it's going to be pretty messy. And the other one is Mohamed Gay, who had the back injury like back in November and hasn't returned at all. So, yeah, cool. And that is it. That's 30 teams. We got it done in under 30 minutes somehow. So don't forget, hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, notification bell, leave your comments, double bang, audio, video. Hopefully the audio is rolling and you listen to this one as it happens. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for watching and for listening, everyone. See ya.